This revision video is on the topic of sequences, specifically finding the sum of an arithmetic sequence, which is a grade 9 topic for IGCSE Edexcel Maths. Okay, finding the sum of a sequence. What does that mean? It just means adding up the terms of a sequence. So if we would find the sum of this sequence, we would simply add up the numbers 5, 7, 9, 11 and 13, which gives you 45. We have summed the sequence. Not a grade 9 topic, you may think. So no, that's just to show you what sum of a sequence, what they're actually asking you to do, but obviously will not be as easy as that for a grade 9 question. This is more like it. So, how do we sum a sequence like this? Well, we've got quite a lot of terms, so we might be asked to sum the sequence from 4 all the way up to 151. Okay, we will actually be given a formula for this. So this is your formula for summing a sequence. This is what you'll be given in your formula book. So sum to n terms. It means like the number of terms that you're adding, okay? So A always represents the first term. D is the common difference. We did touch on this idea when we looked at finding the nth term of a sequence. You might want to watch that recording before you look at this one. And n is like the number of terms that you're summing. So if we could just go back to this like really simplified version first over here. Let's just have a look at, I know we can just add them up together, but let's just look at how we would put it into the formula. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. So we're summing the first 5 terms. N is 5. So I'm going to just use this formula and replace my A, D and N in the formula. A is 5, right? N minus 1. Well, N is 5 as well, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just write this. A is 5, because 5 is the first term. Common difference is 2, and N is 5, because there are 5 terms. So N minus 1 is 4, times the difference is 2. Okay, I'm just going to work out the bracket first. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 8, 18. Which gives us 45. Now, before we look at answering a question on this topic, I'm just going to give you something that's really useful to know, which helps with the style of questions that they ask for IGCSE Edexcel. So it's best to be able to give a sequence in terms of A and D. So let's just put an arithmetic sequence on the board. So arithmetic means it's going up by the same number each time. If we were to generalise that, first term is A. Second term is A plus D, because it's the first term plus the difference. The third term is A plus 2D, because it's the first term had 2 differences. This is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term. The fourth term would be A plus 3D. And if you just have a look, let's skip ahead to the 10th term. The 10th term would be A plus 9D, right? Because it's the first term plus 9 differences. What would the 25th term be? Will it be A plus 24D? Because it's the first term plus 24 differences. And the nth term, we did already have a look at this in the last recording, on the first recording of this topic, be A plus n minus 1D. Because it's the first term plus the number of differences, which is one less than the position of the term, if that makes sense. So the way this is useful in a question, because you're sometimes given the 7th term, but you don't always know our term of the sequence could be the 7th, could be the 14th. You don't know always the first term and the common difference. So if you're given, like, I don't know, the 14th term is a number, for example, you would know that A plus 13D is equal to that number. That is really useful for this topic. Okay, before we look at an example, let's go back to this question where it's not even a full question, but we're given a sequence here. Let's see if we can sum the first n terms. Okay, so I always like to start these questions by writing out A, D, and N. A is 4. D is 3. The problem is we don't know how many terms are in this sequence. But remember, like, the nth term is this. So we can use that because we know A and D to find out the nth term. So let's find out the nth term. A is 4. Common difference is 3. And I'm just going to put my 3 at the front. 4 minus 3 is 1, so it's 1 plus 3n. So let's put the nth term equal to 151, and then we'll be able to find n, the position. So let's take 1 off both sides, and let's divide both sides by 3, which gives you n is 50. So we're actually summing the first 50 terms here. So now we can pop it into the formula. So we're summing the first 50 terms. Let's substitute our n, a, and d in. 2 times 4 plus, n is 50, n minus 1 is 49, times 3. I'm going to work out the bit in my brackets. 2 times 4 plus 49 times 3 is 155. 50 divided by 2 is 25. 3,875. Okay, just a reminder that I have got tutors available for math, science and English. If anybody is interested in online lessons, send me a message. Okay, let's look at this example. First term of an arithmetic series is 5, so you might be, sometimes it's called a sequence, sometimes it gets called a series, same thing. The 20th term is 81. That's where I like to go back to this idea that we looked at before, the A plus D, A plus 2D. If you can lock that theory in your head, it is really useful. So the 20th term is A plus 19D, isn't it? And that's equal to 81. Find the sum of the first 30 terms. Just write down the formula. So all I've done here is like write down as many of the sentences as I can in kind of formulas. A is 5, A plus 19D is 81. So we can use that, because we know that A is 5, we can use that to get our common difference. Take 5 off both sides. Divide both sides by 19. to get D is 4. Now we can put all the information into our formula up here to find the sum of the first 30 terms. N minus 1, n is 30, 30 minus 1 is 29. Work out the bit in brackets. 126 times it by 15, 1,890. Okay, right. I would suggest having a go at these 9 questions. Maybe have a look at them yourself first, put me on pause, then unpause, and I will go through all of them. Okay, so this first question, 15, 18, 21, 24, find the sum of the first 50 terms. So A, common difference is 3, n is 50, sorry, because we're adding the first 50 terms. Plug the information into the formula. N is 50, so n minus 1 is 49. Two times 15, add 49 times 3 is 177. The answer is 4,425. Question 2. Find the sum of the first 100 terms. A is 32. Right, the common difference is negative 4. It's going down by 4 each time. N is 100. Sum in the first 100 terms. Two times 32, add 99 times negative 4. Times by 50. Minus 16,600, which makes sense because it is a decreasing sequence. Question 3. Aha, so A is 2, D is 3. We don't know what N is, do we? But we know the nth term. Well, we can work out the nth term because we know A and D. Two minus 3 is negative 1. Right, I'm just going to put that nth term equal to the 119. Then I can work out what n is by adding 1 to both sides, dividing both sides by 3. N is 40. Now I know n, I can put the information into the formula. So we'll sum in the first 40 terms. And times 121. 2,420. Question 4. Find the sum of the first 50 multiples of 5. Just going to write out the sequence. A is 5, D is 5. We're getting the first 50 terms. 6,375. Okay, might need a bit more space here. The 19th term of an arithmetic sequence is 132 and the common difference is 7. So D is 7. Find the sum of the first 200 terms, so I know N is 200. What is A? That we know the 19th term of the arithmetic sequence is 132, so I can put A plus 18D is equal to 132. And I know D is 7. If I take 126 off both sides, I know A is 6. Sorry, looking at the wrong question. I'm summing the first 200 terms. Okay. The 12th term of an arithmetic series is 2 and the 30th term is 38. Find the sum of the first 21 terms. We don't know A or D. This time we only know that N is 21. Right, we do know though that A plus 11D equals 2. And we know A plus 29D is equal to 38. You should spot here, we've got two unknowns. These are linear simultaneous equations, and just looking at them, it would be good to solve them using the elimination method. I'm just going to swap my A and my D round. If you can't remember how to solve simultaneous equations, well, you should. Maybe watch a YouTube short on it. Maybe I have some YouTube videos somewhere on simultaneous equations. Make sure you revise that topic if you're not sure. So the reason I've swapped them round is because I like to eliminate the second term always. You may do it slightly different to me. That's absolutely fine. There's a few different ways of doing these. I'm going to subtract because signs are the same. 11 take away 29 is minus 18D. A take away A is 0. 2 take away 38 is negative 36. Divide both sides by negative 18 gives us D is 2. I'm just going to sub it into this first one. 29 times 2 plus A is 38. I'm going to take 58 off both sides. Give me A is negative 20. Right, let me just check that works quickly. Yeah, okay. So we know that N is 21, we know A is negative 20, and we know D is 2. So now we can put the information in our formula. Oh, the answer is 0, which is fine, yeah, which does make sense again. Because we're going to have some negative numbers in that sequence. Because the 12th term is 2, isn't it? And the negative numbers counteract the positive numbers to make the sum 0. Question 7. Fifth term of an arithmetic sequence is 13. The 15th term, so a plus 14d is 33. Ooh, find and simplify an expression for the sum of the first n terms. N is n. Well, we can work out a and d though by using simultaneous equations. Divide both sides by negative 10, gives us d is 2. I'm just going to sub it in here. Subtract 28 from both sides, gives us a is 5. N is n, a is 5, d is 2. So we're going to sum, we want an expression, so we're going to have some n's in this. Just going to ring my d on the other side, because that's the side I like on when I'm expanding brackets. Let's just simplify all of this. 10 take away 2 is 8. So this is n, this is half n. So I'm going to write it as n times a half, which is the same as a half n. And then what I can do is multiply out my brackets. Oh, I could have done that without doing that, but never mind. 8 times a half is 4, times n is 4n. Multiply out by the 2n, so n times a half times 2n now, because I'm just multiplying out my brackets. Half times 2n is n, times n is n squared. There is your expression for the sum of n terms. Question 8. Common difference of an arithmetic sequence is 8. The sum of the first 200 terms is 1,720. Find the sum of the first 40 terms. So I know n is 420. They know that the sum of the first 20 terms is 1,720. So I can put 1,720 equal to 20 over 2. Don't know what a is. N is 20, so 20 minus 1 is 19. And I know common difference is 8. I'm just going to simplify this. 20 divided by 2 is 10. I'm going to divide both sides by 10. There's a few different ways you could have done this. I just want to get rid of that 10 first. Then I'm going to subtract 152 from both sides, which gives me 20 is equal to 2a. Gives me a is 10. Now I know a is 10 and d is 8. I want to sum the first 40 terms. Right, and my last question. 10th term of the arithmetic sequence is 48. 20th term is 88. Find the sum from the 15th to the 30th. Right, I need A and D first. I'm just going to rearrange my A's and D's. Then I'm going to subtract. Divide both sides by -10, gives me D is 4. Substitute it into this equation. Minus 76 from both sides, give me A is 12. Now, I want the sum from the 15th term to the 30th term. So let me get the sum of the first 30th terms first. A is 12. Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't finished solving this. Sorry, yeah, no. I had finished solving it. Just didn't write it here. D is 4. Now I need the sum of the first 14th terms. Can I let me try and explain why? If I've got a sequence, right, let's just look at a different sequence. Let's say if I was finding the sum from the 3rd to the 5th term. Okay, it's obvious you just would add those, but can you see it would actually, if I was using the formula, I'd need all of the terms, all of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms, minus 2 of the terms. So that's why here I'm actually going to find the 14th term, because I want the sum of the first 30, and I'm going to take away 14 of them. So I need the 15th term to be included, because I'm adding the 15th to the 30th, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So my final answer would be 2,100 minus 532. 1,568. I have got some exam questions recorded on this topic. Maybe have a look at those next. Just look at my playlists and you should be able to find them.